Hey everybody, this is 365 Days of Movies. This is where I rate my top 365 movies. One movie a day for a year. So, with that, let's get into this movie. Coming in at 300, Mulan. Rating 7.01. Released in 1998, directed by Tony Bancroft and Barry Cook. Starring Ming-Na, Eddie Murphy, B.D. Wong, Miguel Ferrer, June Foray, James Hong, Pat Morita, and George Takei. Fearful that her father will be drafted into the Chinese military, Mulan takes his spot, though, as a girl living under a patriarchal regime, she is technically unqualified to serve. She cleverly impersonates a man and goes off to train with her fellow recruits. Accompanied by her dragon Mushu, she uses her smarts to help ward off a Han invasion, falling in love with a dashing captain along the way. Now, when I saw this movie, and it's probably one of the last animated movies that were aimed at children that I went out and saw in theaters, and I love that later, much later in time, Rick and Morty brought up this movie and the Szechuan sauce that I had completely forgot about at McDonald's and was never terribly interested in, but it was a great little meme. What really struck me about this movie, besides it was good and the voice performances were great, and it was the type, those Disney animated movies that are beautiful. The subject matter, it's there's a couple of movies and books and that kind of thing of a woman impersonating a man, and even some of her in military situations. So I like that plot element. What I didn't know when I was watching the movie, and I was a sort of hobbyist at East Asian cultures, so I knew a little bit of history, but I was unaware that the Huns had invaded China as well. And it wasn't until later when I read a lot of histories, especially some of my favorite history books that centered on the people who lived in the steppes, which is basically this giant superhighway, if you will, especially for people that are riding horses, which the people of the steppes did, that spread from northern, north of China, all the way across to through Georgia and the Ukraine, which was basically these people could easily move back and forth between these areas. So it was entirely, plausible that the Huns could invade China, and the Huns could later invade the Roman Empire and supposedly help topple it. So these steppe people often had more information about the world than, say, the people of the Roman Empire and the people of the Han Empire. So I just thought that was interesting. It was the first time that I made that realization, because I think that the actual name of the name that the Chinese gave the Huns were the Xiongnu, I believe, and they had harassed the Chinese Empire for a very long time. And in fact, there's a kind of a saying that the reason why Rome fell was because China built a wall. And whether or not that's true, that's interesting that the people of the steppes maybe migrated further away from China because it was more difficult to invade China than it was to continue west and eventually end up in the Roman Empire. And in fact, the Han movement west displaced a lot of people who later became the type of people who would the different groups of people that invaded in waves the Roman Empire, the Visigoths and the Ostrogoths and the Franks. Everybody was eventually displaced by the Hun. So this movie sort of is the precursor to that, the beginning of that, and it's a great historical piece. How historically accurate it is, I don't actually know, because I don't remember the specifics of the plot, and I haven't actually read many histories of the Xiongnu invasions of China, except for histories that encompass long periods of time in which the Huns invaded China, among other things happening over hundreds of years. So I've gone off on a tangent on history because I love history, and this is a movie that's firmly rooted in history as far as I'm concerned, and you should check it out. Hey everybody, this has been 365 Days of Movies. We're going to keep plowing ahead. So let me know what you think of this movie, and if you want to discuss it further, comment below. If I get a lot of interest, I may very well make a full review of the movie, maybe even a video essay. So let me know what you think, and let's get to the next one.